Okay, welcome from the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group. We are in January 2023. This is actually January 12th. This is our 61st class. We are working on the BABOK chapter 5. We have practice study questions for requirements lifecycle management. Our mission here at the IIBA Tampa Bay is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower and instruct and engage the BA community. You'll notice that this map is not a local Tampa Bay map. It's because we do have people that attend the study group from all over the world, and everyone is welcome to attend the study group. It is a free study group, and you can become a member of our chapter if you wish. We would welcome that. The study group is going to be every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can see past meeting recordings right here. We have a variety of ways that you can actually reach us. You can reach us on the IIBA website. We have 2 different meetups. This is our Zoom online that you're on right now. Facebook, we have a group, and then we have the 2 LinkedIn groups. If you want to reach us, I do suggest that you reach us through LinkedIn. We have met, as I said, 60 times prior to this. Number 8 was how to apply for the test. It went over the prerequisites that you have to apply for the CBAP, as well as the application process. I think it's very informative for people who have not been through that before. Let's see. On 9/6, we did a celebration of Yulia's passing her CBAP. You'll see Yulia here. She is our CBAP in residence. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. This is our 61st class again, chapter 5, requirements lifecycle management. If we do fantastic in this class, in this meeting, we will go on to chapter 6, strategy analysis, next week. If you're interested in purchasing something from Watermark, they have a pretty wide variety of classes, flashcards, practice questions, and I'll show you their UI here in a minute. You can use the Tampa Space 21 code. It will give you 20% off of your purchase. We here are a volunteer-run organization. You'll see Cliff. You can't see him right now. He's down here, I promise. He is our president, and he is our marketing guru. Lori is our vice president. There he is. This is the Millennium Falcon. I've been informed I have to say it right. And then Caitlin and Priscilla are board members at large. My name is Thea Soren. I am the vice president of career and professional development for the chapter. I've been doing this for about 10 years, leading study groups for chapters all over the nation. And if you'd like to reach me, you can reach me here at LinkedIn. And here is my name in LinkedIn. I haven't figured out how to get them to change it to a married name. So for right now, it's my name. And it's spelled R-A-S-I-N-S. If you are trying to spell it, if you spell it like the raisins fruit, it won't work. We are looking for new board members. We need you. If you're interested in contributing, say 4 hours or 16 hours, or want to take on a 2-year-long position, let me know. We'll get you in the board. We'll see what you want to do to participate and what your skills are that you want to contribute, or what skills that you would like to enhance. As I said earlier, Yulia is our CBAP who is attending this meeting. I have not heard from Bob, and I don't know why he's not attending, but he typically does attend every single class. Bob has not only his CBAP, but a variety of other certifications that he has earned rightfully. And he also has a website, which is rpchurchill.com. In that website, he's got a lot of stuff that business analysts would be interested in, as well as people that are interested in mechanical engineering, project management, process improvement, strategies, statistics, simulations, all kinds of really cool stuff. So I encourage you to go check that out. Let's see. Next, we also have our wins. These are 2 of the people, including Yulia, who have been able to go on from our study group to gain their certifications. Tish did not have a lot of experience as a business analyst, so she earned her ECBA. And then Yulia has had business analysis experience as she earned her CBAP. So we're going to switch over now and go to the test simulation. This again is by Watermark Learning. They have given us this free, and we do appreciate it. This is their UI. We were able to select the number of questions here, and then select the chapter. Chapters 1 through 6, and then underlying competencies and techniques are right here. And then it's going to give us.
We don't see the screen.
Did it switch? Did it not switch? Okay, let me stop sharing and reshare then. Okay. Can you see this exam now? Okay, very good. Thank you for telling me. So we're going to select requirements lifecycle management. This should only give us questions out of requirements lifecycle management chapter. Begin new exam. Your participation here is what really gets us the ideas of what is the right question, what is the right answer, and what makes the answer wrong. So please do speak up. I'm going to go ahead and read the question, then I'll read the answers. Hartley is in the process of defining the requirements traceability approach. She has defined the relationship between a requirement and a test case and other elements that determine whether a solution fulfills the requirement. What type of relationship has Hartley defined? Is it satisfy, authenticate, derive, or validate? So first of all, which of these do we know is not correct?
Satisfy.
So we know satisfy is not correct. Does everyone agree with that? That leaves authenticate, derive, or validate.
I don't think derives one either.
Okay, so that leaves authenticate and validate.
I think validate was the first thing that came to mind, because what does testing do? It validates that something's working the way it's supposed to work.
I agree.
Okay, we've got 2 votes for validate. Let's go ahead and check the answer. If it's wrong, we can learn it. So this relationship does determine whether a solution fulfills a requirement by tracing requirements to the test case or other elements that can provide validation. Good job, guys. Next.
And there are 3 types of relationship. Authenticate is not one of them. We have derive, satisfy, and validate.
Yeah, so B could be eliminated just on the fact that it's not one of the correct it's not a mentioned relationship. Yeah.
So what are the 3 relationships, Julia?
Derive, satisfy, and validate.
Derive, satisfy, and validate. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
And derive has 2 other sub-relationship, is necessity and effort, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
I love you being here.
But actually, I want to ask about satisfy relationship type. The way they explained in BABOK, it was not really clear to me what it is.
I think that it would be the acceptance criteria to satisfy the requirement, but I'm not positive. That is not one of the chapters I wrote, Julia, so I can't tell you for sure.
And when I was passing an exam, I also did not know what it is. They say relationship between an implementation element and requirements, it is satisfying. I like what?
And so you were looking for the satisfy one? Is that?
Yeah, page 82.
Yeah, page 82, and relationship between the implementation element and the requirements it's satisfying. For example, the relationship between a functional requirement and a solution component. So yeah, I think and then the validate is between a requirement and a test case. So satisfy is the relationship between the requirement and the actual solution component. Validate is a step further. I think it says that we've made sure that this is working in the solution, as opposed to this is a requirement, or it's working in a test, versus this is a requirement that's traced to a solution component. Does that make sense?
Looks like
That's the way I
satisfy,
interpret
there's
it.
supposed to be a relationship.
Between
the
the implementation element and between the functional requirement and the solution component. That's the key. The
Okay.
key
Can you think of an example of that?
I would think that it might be like, user must be able to log in, and the solution component is the login screen. And so there's a relationship that says we've got a component, we've got a requirement that says the user must be able to log in.
Mhm.
And we've got a component, which is the login
That
module
fulfills that,
that fulfills
that
that,
satisfies it.
that satisfies it. Yes.
That's perfect.
And-
Okay.
Yep.
So Yulia, do you like that answer?
Yes.
It makes sense. When
Thank
we
you. I
rewrite the
think-
BABOK, we'll fix that. Jim, you're going to be helping with that, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
It'd be dangerous, but
It's okay. I expect us to get our best effort out of bouncing sharp against sharp, steel against steel. Okay, Julian works in the IT department at a financial institution. She's responsible for ensuring the requirements and designs are supportable within the constraints imposed by technology standards and organizational capability plans. She may also have a role in reviewing and approving requirements. What type of stakeholder is Julian? Okay, so she can review and approve requirements. She's responsible for ensuring requirements and design are supportable within the constraints imposed by technology standards and organizational capability plans. Is she a sponsor, operational support, domain subject matter expert, or regulator?
Domain
going-
subject matter expert.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Second that.
Okay.
I third that.
Third. Okay,
Incorrect.
Oh,
that she's operational support. Because the task for approving requirements,
supportable. Okay.
the domain subject matter expert is involved in the review and approval of requirements and designs as defined by stakeholder roles and responsibilities designation.
The part that
That's-
confused me about that is I recall the operational support being involved with the implementation as well. And this didn't say anything about the implementation.
Right. So it can have a subset of the total in here. It doesn't have to have the total. You know, whenever it says what are these elements a part of this other thing, it doesn't, those elements don't have to be all of it. It's just some of it.
So it sounds like our clue here is to look at that one of her main responsibilities are making sure that designs are supportable.
Well,
That would throw us to because I was with you going for domain subject matter expert.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
the-
right here,
you-
within the constraints imposed by technology standards and organizational capability plans. So she's organizational support.
I could understand operational support being involved with organizational capability plans, but
Mhm.
not so much with the technology standards. I mean, you wouldn't have someone as an operations manager dictating to your IT team what, what firewall that they would need, for example.
No, but they would say you have to use Windows, whatever, 365. Okay. Okay to go on? All right, I agree. This one is a little crunchy. Greg is working on getting these requirements approved. Which stakeholders is responsible for ensuring that the requirements meet quality assurance standards? Here's our key. Is it the regulator, the tester, operational support, or project manager?
Regulator.
Regulator.
What?
I was thinking
Speed.
tester.
Threw us
Speed
off.
kills. Just remember, speed kills.
Speed
okay.
kills.
Mhm.
Speed kills.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
we answered too fast.
You
Oh.
just too fast.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you jump to the answer, you got to go, wait a minute, let's be sure. So the testers are responsible for assuring quality assurance standards are met. Think of the tester as the gatekeeper that says, no, it's not okay to go out. It's not good enough.
But if it would say, it says meet quality standards, right? But if it says impose, then it's regulator.
Impose, yes, it would be a regulator if it was imposed.
Gotcha.
Okay, number 4. Terry is documenting requirements for her current project, a new order entry system. She knows that future projects will benefit if her requirements are made reusable, but it will take extra time that her boss feels she does not have. What would you advise Terry use as her best justification for taking the time to make her requirements reusable? That they can be reused in the future for the current or similar initiatives. It will provide the basis for future enhancements. It will make the resulting software development more cost effective, or it will be easy to enter and access the requirements in the new repository tool the organization has installed. Are there any of those answers that we know are not right?
D.
We've got 21 people on the call. I promise that the 5 people that have been talking are not the only 5 people with opinions.
No, I don't think you care about the tools, so I would
Yeah,
kill D.
I agree.
Okay, so we're going to kill D. That makes A, B, or C.
I think it's A.
I think it's B.
Why do you like A, Jennifer?
Because in a part in the BABOK, they say that we can reuse requirements for similar initiatives, organization, or projects. I don't remember exactly in which part, but I remember that.
You know what? I've noticed that Jennifer has pretty much got the BABOK memorized the last couple of meetings. She could be right. So why do we think it's B?
It just sounded better
According to the BABOK or according to your experience?
to my experience.
Okay, one more
That's
time.
when you get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's why I,
Yeah.
What the BABOK says is what you have to go by. So let's try
I think it's A.
check the answer.
It's A.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
Oh, yay.
Hey, Jennifer.
requirements can be used with the current initiative, within similar initiatives, within similar departments, and throughout the organization. So see, she remembered what it said. This enforces my idea that if you read it enough, you'll hear its language, you'll hear its accent whenever you're reading the questions and answers. Number 5, you're the business analyst on an effort and one of your stakeholder references the proposed changes. And one of your stakeholders references the proposed changes to confirm compliance to standards. What type of stakeholder is this? Is it a sponsor, a tester, a regulator, or a project manager?
I
think
think
it's a
this is
regulator.
regulator
Me
Why do
too.
you like regulator?
because it references to proposed changes. It's not performing the actual validation.
And to confirm compliance.
compliance
Compliance.
to standards. I
Yeah.
think
Let's check it.
regulator.
You guys rock. Changes are likely to be referenced by auditors to conform compliance to standards. Good job.
Only
Your
because I
reasoning
got
is
it wrong the
impeccable.
first time.
You know what? Sometimes getting it wrong is the way you learn. We're good. That's why we're doing this, right? Okay, I'm going to read all of these answers. You might as well create a little grid and check it off so you can keep them straight. Which stakeholders participate in prioritizing requirements? Customer implementation SME, end user, domain SME, operational support, regulator, and project manager. Or B, customer implementation SME, end user, sponsor, regulator, project manager, domain SME. C, customer implementation SME, end user, project manager, supplier, regulator, sponsor. Or D, implementation SME, end user, domain SME, tester, sponsor, regulator, and project manager. Of those lists, are there any we can eliminate?
E,
Why do we eliminate?
because of implementation SME. They know how to implement the solution. But I was thinking of D, and I guess that would eliminate. Would that?
All of them.
They all have
Emily,
implementation
yeah,
SME.
that-
I am so wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a
Somebody
second.
else.
You are answering according to your experience. You got to go back to what the BABOK says.
Okay. Customer implement-
The BABOK says the implementation SME helps prioritize requirements because of the order in which they have to be implemented.
Okay, not C because it has supplier.
Okay, so supplier, you think is not a valid one?
I think so.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, so what do you think is a valid one? Is the valid one according to the BABOK?
I think B is the best answer because project manager is moved up highest. Or higher, I should say, than what A
Yeah, it
is.
has end user. Has the end user though. Gosh, they all do, don't they?
They
Hmm.
all have
That
end
that
user.
is important for the user experience though, because there's a lot of emphasis on the people and the technology within the process.
Okay, so we've got one vote for B. Anybody else have a vote?
Well, why don't we go through what each of them does? Because it says participates in prioritizing requirements. Well, that would be the project manager, the customer, implementation SME. I don't think I don't
Regulator?
regulator. See, I'm not so sure about regulator, but it's in all of them. So it would
It
have to be a regulator.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and check answer and we can see what the answer is.
I say D.
This is the correct answer. Good
Awesome.
job. This is the correct list of stakeholders that participate in the prioritization of requirements. Look at BABOK 537. Although domain SME is not listed in the BABOK, it is listed in the BABOK errata documents as a correction to the list of stakeholders. So make a note in your BABOK. Go to 537 and put domain SME in there because it will be on the test, even if the BABOK needed to be corrected.
57.
537.
Yeah, it's not in the book.
Hell, that doesn't seem fair, does it?
Honestly, I don't even know where these documents are. We probably should be able to find that and tell people. So let's
There
get that
is a
information.
link in the IIBA to the errata document, and it might be in like the watermark study guide. Let's see if I can find it.
If you can find a link to it and drop it in the chat, I'm sure everyone would appreciate it. I'm going to move on out of time.
Yeah, because if you can find that, I'll put it out with the recordings, because I put the BABOK version 3 out there also for you guys to look at. So if you can find that supplement,
Yeah, we
I'll
want
put
to
that
know.
out there too.
Curious minds want to know. Okay, number 7, Percy and his team have identified and documented the lineage of each requirement, including its backwards traceability, its forwards traceability, and its relationship to other requirements. What might be their next step? How about spelling there correctly? Business rules analysis, determine whether to make or buy, assess risk, or define design options. According to the BABOK, after they figure out traceability, what's the next logical step?
D.
D? Why do you like D?
Because I remember that we used traceability for the design options.
Okay,
Traceability for design options. Because you have all the needs. And so if you have all the needs, then you should be able to move forward with the design.
Why not C?
Yeah, I was going to say why not assess risk, because your traceability is it between, not only between requirements, but it's also from requirements to design. Is that true? And so if we've already traced requirements to designs,
Including backward traceability.
is traceability to design or to test or what?
Traceability is to test.
well, it's also between requirements, which also means it's between designs, right?
That's true.
I mean, traceability allows to perform impact analysis. It allows to allocate requirements to releases.
Mhm.
Do we assess risk before or after we define design options?
I
I
think
feel
that
like
comes after.
C.
I think after.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
But hold on, for traceability, what are the inputs? Are inputs, requirements, and designs, correct?
The inputs into
What-
yes,
traceability are what?
requirements
Yes.
traced and designs traced, right?
No, input. So requirements and designs.
Mhm.
So
It's
Inputs
output
into-
is going to be traced.
and
Traced requirements and traced designs. Yep.
so that means that you already have your design options defined before you do.
I
traceability.
think so. Should be
Yeah,
risk. I mean,
those-
business rule analysis. Thank you, but
Okay, so let's go with C. I heard several.
but I might be wrong.
It's okay. This is how we learn.
Oh.
And
mm,
she was right again. Define
That's right.
design options
Yeah.
uses the output of traced requirements.
Fun by three.
yeah.
What might
Right.
be their next step? So that The question is, what might be their next step after they've got traceability? It would be
But
one of the-
513 are inputs.
Or
This is what I said. Yeah, there are inputs. It's just inputs, designs and requirements. Designs may be traced to other requirements, solution components, and other work products. So they don't speak about defined design options.
Mhm.
So is design
Well,
options not
if
one of the
you-
out? Oh,
It-
design,
It's
define
it's not
divine,
an output, but it
it uses the output.
uses the outputs, yes, from the IO
Find it.
diagram of 5.1.
Yep. Yeah, on page 81.
Jennifer, you're right. Again,
And I think at the other one, asset risk is for prioritize, I think.
Mhm.
very good. Okay, question 8. As a business analysis activity advances during an initiative, major budgetary constraints suddenly arise. The sponsor asks the teams to focus their effort only on the most critical requirements. What should the business analysts do? They should validate requirements, prioritize requirements, verify requirements, or organize requirements. Are there any of these that are not a term that the BABOK uses?
Organized requirements isn't, I don't believe.
Okay. So what do we think the answer is?
Prioritize is the one that makes sense,
E.
but that doesn't mean it's right.
Prioritize.
Yeah, I say prioritize.
Let's find out. And it is correct. The purpose of prioritized requirements is to rank requirements in the order relative to importance. Number 9, there are several types of relationships that the business analyst considers when defining the traceability approach. What type of relationship exists when it only makes sense to implement a particular requirement if a related requirement is also implemented? Would that be effort, derive, depends, or necessity?
What type of relationship is this when it only makes sense to look at particular?
Well, if you can only do one and it needs the other, that's,
Depends.
it depends is the one that stands out, right?
It seems
depends
like a
on the-
dependency.
Yeah, depends stands out, but I don't think it's quite the definition of depends. And the reason for that is you can't do number 2 unless you do number 1. And this really didn't describe that type of a relationship, but I wasn't sure what the correct answer was.
We just,
So necessity is a correct answer. It's a subtype of the depends relationship that exactly describes the situation, the scenario, and the trace requirements task. So let's go back to this. What type of relationship exists only when it makes sense to implement a particular requirement if a related requirement is also implemented?
if a related to. That's what I read it.
So depends is right. It's just not specific enough. It's
Not
it's
specific enough.
necessity under enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you
I
love
mean,
those?
depends would be if, I believe
I have to have it.
if without, so requirement could not be fulfilled if another requirement is not fulfilled yet. So both of them needs to be fulfilled for it to work. This
so
is
the thing
depends
I'm thinking
relationship.
of is if we decided to create a vending machine and you were able to put coins in, creating a slot for coins and that function would be one requirement, and having a sign there that says put coin in here would be another requirement. If you leave either one of those requirements off, you've got a problem. So they are
Or you
necessity.
cannot, or you cannot drive your car unless you start it with your key.
Right. If it's a key entry.
I don't have that. Yeah, good one. Yeah,
Okay, number 10, there are several types of relationships that the business analyst considers when defining the traceability approach. What type of the following describes the relationship between the functional requirement and a solution that is implementing it? Is that a depends, satisfy, necessity, or derive?
I think that satisfies it.
solution
I should say it is satisfying.
Mhm.
satisfy. Yeah,
That was just like that question we had earlier about the functional requirement and the solution component. The
Mhm.
relationship is that the solution component satisfies the functional requirement. So that's why I would argue for B, but
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's
Mm.
check it. And we are correct.
Yay, good job.
The satisfied relationship exists between an implementational element and the requirement it is satisfying, which is the scenario being described. Number 11, what is traceability considered an enabler of? Faster and simpler impact analysis, improved stakeholder management, enhanced relationship management, or better requirements management planning?
I go for A because traceability says if we want to make a change to something, we can tell what the impacts are to all of the other requirements and designs that may be traced.
Okay,
I think it's D.
Better requirement.
Caitlin,
Which
did you
was
put
the-
something in the dishwasher?
Uh-oh.
Fucking thing,
he
stop!
is in big trouble, man. Requirement that was not met,
Faster and simpler. What is the
What did
traceability
you put?
enabler?
I think it's 8.
A, okay, I've got 2 votes for A. Let's check it. Traceability
Okay,
does
so-
enable faster and simpler impact analysis.
What the
Thank you.
hell?
Oh, good. I would have picked B also.
You didn't fucking notice?
Who has it? Can somebody mute?
And James, mute is. Mute,
I think
mute.
it's good now.
I think it was Deborah. I just muted her.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to cause problems. Which must which must happen to enable requirements reuse? Is it the proposed requirements need to be baselined? The requirements have to be verified. The requirements must be stored in a document repository, or the requirements must be identified, clearly named and defined.
D.
D.
It's supposed to be
Why do we like D?
like clear requirements.
Because that's what the BABOK says. Tell me that. Yep.
I remember that.
So the quote is, requirements that are candidates for reuse are identified, clearly named, defined, and stored in a manner that makes them easily retrievable by other stakeholders. Very nice. Which type of relationship between requirements describe when it only makes sense to implement a particular requirement if a related requirement is also implemented? Would it be satisfy, validate, effort, or necessity? Have we seen effort before?
No
No.
such
No,
relationship.
no,
No such
necessity would
relationship.
be, or validate.
Necessity.
Okay, necessity or validate. I need one.
I'm going to say necessity because validate we said was for testing relationship.
Okay.
The relationship between tests, but
I
And
really
requirements.
don't feel like it's either of those two, honestly.
Okay. What do you think it is?
Not on the board.
What do you think the
something-
BABOK says it is?
I'm kind of leaning towards effort, like, it's, if they are both very similar, you might as well do both.
describes only when it only makes sense to
Yes.
implement a particular requirement. So if it makes sense to implement a particular requirement,
Yeah, if a related requirement is also implemented, it's like a car and a key.
yeah, that's
So
what I'm
make-
thinking. It's just back to that analogy about if you have a coin slot and then you must have coin processing
Mhm.
once it goes in the slot. So wouldn't
Right.
that be necessity? Or would-
Yeah, it'd be necessity.
Okay, let's check the answer at just out of
Yeah.
time.
That
And
one
we-
says
correct.
it only
Yay.
makes sense. It only makes sense.
Yep, it has to make sense according to the BABOK.
Yep.
Okay,
Page-
you've been hired as the business analyst for an initiative. You have completed requirements solicitation and documentation. You now want information to help you understand the needs of all stakeholders to assist in managing consensus. Which of the following tools would be helpful? Conflict and consensus management, change strategy, legal regulatory information, or requirements management tool or repository? So this is what you're after. Needs of all stakeholders to help assist in managing consensus.
Which of the following tools?
D, Yeah, it would definitely be, it'd definitely be requirement
D.
management tool repository. Yeah, it's a repository. It would be a storage of all the requirements, so that manage consensus. So it would be either D or B.
But it says here, you now want information to help you understand the needs.
The needs, yeah.
I kind of remember this question. from
I
before,
think
or
it's
change
B.
strategy.
I
Change-
think
yeah,
it's
I
B
remember this
also.
question.
Yeah, because if
Okay.
you want to know the information, you got to pull it from a repository. That's the whole purpose of a repository, isn't it?
Requirement management tools.
Okay.
But to help you understand,
I say D.
You understand the needs. Yeah, you don't need a repository to understand the needs.
Yeah,
The
a
document.
repository would help to organize and retrieve
store.
them at a later
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
But you want to understand the needs of all stakeholders to assist in managing consensus.
And notice it's tool and guidelines. I believe that there is no such tool and guideline as conflict and consensus management. So it's out of the window.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
which one is a
Yeah.
tool is in the list of tools and guidelines, I guess.
Yeah, I did not recognize A as a tool and guideline.
Right.
As a tool, always
I'm thinking
read.
D is the tool, right?
Mhm.
D is a tool, and so is the change strategy as well.
And legal information.
Yes, legal and
But-
regulatory information also.
I believe needs of stakeholders are come from change strategy. I might be wrong.
Mm,
Okay, I'm
Okay.
going to check answer B.
Yay!
Tool provides information which would assist in the business analysis and managing stakeholder consensus, which is called change strategy. Okay, guys, remember that one. What are
Yeah.
the inputs to approve
Stakeholder
requirements? Requirement and validation designs, approved requirements and approved designs, verified requirements and designs, requirements and designs. What are the outputs of the task approve requirements?
Output.
B.
I'm gonna go with
B.
B.
Okay, I hear B. Let's check it. Yes, we are good. We have got 20 minutes left and we have 10 questions left. Which of the following stakeholders will be more focused on prioritization being consistent with legal and regulatory constraints? Legal and regulatory constraints, sponsor, regulator, project manager, implementation SME.
Sponsor.
Regulator.
Regulator.
B.
Regulator.
Okay, we're checking regulator. And that is correct because it's called legal and regulatory constraints. They're the ones that are really focused on that.
Legal.
You're working on a team that is adding a new line of insurance to your company's claims system. Conflicts have arisen among many of the stakeholders as a result of different interpretations of requirements for the new line, as well as conflicting values placed on their value. That's a weird sentence. Which stakeholders would you recommend to facilitate communication between stakeholders to resolve the areas of conflict so that each group has an improved appreciation of the needs of the others? Would that be sponsor, human resources, business analyst, or project manager? First of all, which one of these can we eliminate?
Human
Human
resources.
Human
resource.
resource.
Okay, we know it's not that one. So it's sponsor, business analyst, or project manager.
I'm voting for business analyst because
B.
our job
Yeah.
is to manage
Yep.
stakeholder conflict. I mean, conflict management. is
And
one
it
of our
says
skills,
facilitate
so.
communication.
Let's check this
So
answer.
yes. Correct.
Yes, it's B.
There we are, guys. That's us all over the place. Consensus among stakeholders is usually sought prior to the requesting approval of requirements. During this process, stakeholder groups frequently have varying points of view. The business analyst facilitates communication between stakeholders. Susan is in the process of evaluating the implications of proposed changes to requirements and designs. She consults with knowledgeable stakeholders to fully understand the proposed change in requirements, in relationship to the business. Which guideline is Susan observing? Right there. Is that requirements architecture, solution scope, impact analysis, or domain knowledge?
Understand the proposed change. Change knowledge. Stakeholders to fully understand the proposed change.
Proposed change in relationship to business.
Impact analysis?
That's what I think.
Mhm.
Yes, I think the same.
Okay, let's check it. Is domain knowledge.
Domain knowledge.
Domain knowledge of and expertise in the business domain is needed to assess proposed requirements change.
Is needed. Domain knowledge. Interesting.
Oh, so the key here is she consults with knowledgeable stakeholders to understand the
Yep, I think you're
proposed
right.
change.
That is the correct thing to look at
The knowledgeable stakeholders is maybe a code word for domain SME.
for
who would have
domain.
domain knowledge.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Really interesting this change.
Okay, next one. McKenna is working with stakeholders to prioritize requirements. Initially, stakeholders prioritize requirements based upon the perceived benefits. Then technical personnel reprioritize them due to the technical dependencies and constraints. Business stakeholders then reprioritize them again once they receive the cost of implementation per requirement. What element is this describing? Is this a basis for prioritization, continual prioritization, challenges of prioritization, or rationale for prioritization? Okay, you're laughing. Please tell us why.
Well,
It's all rationalization.
if you did not read a book, it's easy to make a mistake.
Right. But since you did read the book,
I know the answer.
it's good.
So they list a basis for prioritization.
Rationale for current.
Okay, so Yulia is giving
thinking-
us,
Oh, go ahead.
They want me to tell the answer, I can.
I was thinking it's the challenges of prioritization, because it's prioritized and it's reprioritized and then it's reprioritized. I'm thinking it's
Exactly.
either
Jim did
B
not
or
read the
C.
book.
but
Wouldn't that be continual
Continual
prioritization?
prioritization.
Continual.
Continual.
okay, we have several votes for this.
Wow.
Yulia, is that because we didn't read the book or we did read the book?
No, did not.
You did not read the book. This is the answer.
What
You did
My
not
age,
read
it's,
the
I
book.
can't remember what I read.
Okay, spit it out. Let's hear. What is it?
It's A.
Basis.
Basis for prioritization
That's-
is
that's what-
benefit,
that's the
is
answer.
cost. Yeah,
Those are the words that recur in the BABOK.
yeah.
Yep. This is the language of the BABOK. Let's check it.
Oh,
Continue.
Yay, it was
Oh,
continual.
that?
You tricked us.
I trip you.
You didn't read that part, did you?
Continual
I
prioritization.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
The factors that influence prioritization.
that makes
And
sense.
May
it's
shift as
element.
context evolves.
You know you have clout when you can steer people to the wrong answer.
I know. I'm thinking that was classic. I'm so glad we recorded that one.
But
Okay.
this question, yeah, it's very tricky.
Okay, it's crunchy. Let's go to the next one. Cindy was working on requirements, dependencies, and prioritization. Requirement 5.1.2 was dependent on requirement 5.1. Requirement 5.1 was dependent on requirement 3.0. Requirement 3.0 was given a priority of medium, and requirement 5.1 was given a priority of low. A new requirement 7.0 was added and was determined that requirement 5.1 was actually dependent on 7.0. Requirement
Oh
7.0
my
was
God.
given a priority of
Okay.
high, and the priority of 5.1 was changed to medium. What was the deciding factor to change the priority requirement 5.1? So it's just this last part right here.
Oh my gosh, can you go through that again, please?
No,
I think it's effort.
Priority of-
I need to write it out.
I know,
you
I would
have to
too.
write it up, but wait a minute, guys. This is the only sentence that matters. Requirement
Yeah.
7.0
Was given
because
a priority of
7.0,
high.
7.0 was given priority of high, and priority 5.1 was changed from low to medium.
So it would be
So
effort, the
5.1
level of
was
effort.
changed to medium because the thing that it was dependent upon was changed to a high. So
The dependency between the two is described.
Yeah, a new
as-
requirement 7 was added, and it was determined that requirement 5.1 was actually dependent on that 7.
yes, so is that a subset, necessity, value, or effort?
Effort.
Is it
Um,
effort? Because if it's dependent on it,
It'd be subset, right?
I'm thinking it's necessity.
I think it's necessity too.
Okay, I've got 2 votes for this one. In the interest of time, I'm going to check it.
Oh,
It was
Value.
value. We're all
Nobody
wrong.
choose value.
No,
The inclusion of the requirement 7-0 made 5-1 more desirable and therefore a higher priority. 7-0 had a greater value than 3.0. So-
What
They just
kind of-
confused us. And the
Yeah,
trick,
that's more
the whole
valuable.
thing is confusing.
So,
Yeah.
First of
Guys,
all,
check
deciding
this table.
factor, there is no value in relationship here. If we open the book,
501 doesn't have value and 5142 doesn't have value.
I'm looking right now, fund
501 does have value. Value, maintain requirements for reuse to extend value beyond the current initiative.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
it's
worth,
not very,
importance, or usefulness of something to a stakeholder within a context.
Okay, well, that one does work.
512, yeah, 51. Because they added one and so 7 is now more valuable than 5.1, so it flips.
where do you read it?
501 or 414, I'm sorry,
So
501 or
27.
5142.
And 501 is on page 77.
77.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's, value is coming from core concept model,
Right.
right? So maintain requirements for use to extend the value beyond the current initiative. I agree. So the maintain requirements because it's providing value. But here we are not talking about maintaining requirements. This question is bad.
I'm gonna flag it.
You know, it doesn't work.
No, we know that one person said it doesn't work. This is all we can do. So I'm flagging it. Okay, we're moving it on. We've got 10 minutes. We've got 4 questions. Let's do it. Which of the following is not a consideration in assessing requirements changes? Traceability repository, impact resolution, assessment formality, or impact analysis?
See, I've never heard
Not
of
a
it,
consideration.
See,
A.
which is not a consideration.
C.
I've heard every little so far. I need somebody else to vote and repeat one of those.
I think C.
Why
because
not A?
I've heard of it.
A is not.
Assessment formality. What is that?
assessment
heard of that.
formality
Yeah,
doesn't
that's what it
seem
is.
familiar to me. Is that a real thing? Is that a thing?
That's what I'm saying. It
I
says
don't think
is
so.
I've
not
never
a
heard of it.
consideration.
It's not a
Right,
consideration.
right.
Assessment formality.
That's what it is.
Not a
Is it?
consideration.
See, see.
It's
So,
Okay,
and
I'm gonna trust
repository,
And Jennifer again was
Damn
right.
it.
I
Oh,
want to
darn
know.
it.
I want you to know she was right. A traceability repository.
it's
This is
not in
consideration
assessing.
for traceability repository, not assessing them. So is the, what a weird, am I reading this right? This is a
It's not an
consideration for
element.
tracing requirements, not assessing them. So is the correct answer. Requirements
Correct, yes.
traceability is documented and maintained in accordance with methods identified by the business analyst analysis approach and its governance. So traceability repository is a valid thing according to the BABOK, but is not used in assessing
But
requirements.
this said it's not a
Mm.
consideration.
Mhm.
Confused.
You wouldn't use it
It's
because.
No,
for
it's
tracing
correct.
requirements, but not assessing requirements changes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Gotcha.
we use it for tracing requirements, but we don't use it to assess requirements changes.
Hmm.
That's
That was
interesting.
confusing.
Because I
Um,
thought traceability was so that we could determine the impact. But okay,
But it's not consideration. We are not considering it when we are assessing changes.
not the repository
Yeah, so we
itself.
don't care. Repository does not affect
Yeah,
how we assess the changes.
Okay,
Right,
trick is that repository. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have to
continue.
reread. I didn't think that was even a thing, so I guess I have to
Yeah, I
read.
didn't either.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Always read the question twice, even during exam.
Okay,
I'm not kidding.
Always read it twice.
yep. Okay, continual prioritization is best described by which of the following statements? Stakeholders may have difficulty characterizing any requirements as a lower priority, and this may impact the ability to make the necessary trade-offs. The chance that the requirements cannot deliver the potential value or cannot be met at all. This may include many factors such as the difficulty of implementing an F requirement, or the chance that stakeholders will not accept the solution component. Requirements are prioritized and agreed upon by relevant stakeholders as defined in the business analysis, planning, and monitoring knowledge area, or initially prioritization is done at a higher level of abstraction. As the requirements are further refined, prioritization is done at a more granular level and will be incorporate additional basis for prioritization as they become appropriate. Going back to the question, continual prioritization is best described by which of the following statements? Which one is the definition of continual prioritization?
I
D.
think it's D2.
Okay, I've got 2 votes for D. In the
I
interest
think
of
it's
time,
D also.
I think a D.
it is the correct answer. Good job, guys. Gibson works at a financial institution in Toronto. The company is undergoing a significant change. Gibson is accountable for the solution scope and can provide insights to be utilized when assessing the changes. What type of stakeholder is Gibson? Is Gibson a sponsor, a project manager, accountable executive, or solution architect? Are there any of those we can eliminate?
C.
Never heard of an accountable executive.
Yeah,
I
he-
haven't
and
found one
he's
yet.
not. Yeah,
In any
exactly.
company I've
Right.
ever worked for.
Or
Okay.
he's not architecting anything. He's just providing insight. So basically, he's not like he's not actually developing the code, right? So he wouldn't be the architect. So it would either be a sponsor. It would be a sponsor.
Okay,
I
wait a
think.
minute.
I agree.
He's accountable for the solution scope.
I think it's D, the architect.
Sponsor and project manager are accountable
Yeah.
for solution scope.
Yeah.
Okay, and can provide insight to be utilized when assessing the change. Who can
Yeah,
do-
who provides insight?
B.
Sponsor,
Sponsor.
I
Okay.
think.
Okay, we're gonna go with
I
sponsor.
think so too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Accountable for solution scope. Good job. When does the requirements life cycle end? When the solution and requirements that represent it are retired? When the solution is retired and any eligible requirements are made reusable? When the solution is retired and its associated requirements are achieved or
Archive.
archived, not achieved? When the requirements have been approved and the solution is deployed?
When does requirement life cycle?
I think it's A, when they're retired.
Yes, me too.
Let's check it.
Mhm.
Very correct. We have one question to go and we will finish this, ladies and gentlemen. When assessing requirements changes, which of the following rules should a business analyst consult with to determine the impact of the change on stakeholder work activities? The end user, the sponsor, the project manager, or operational support?
I think that's operational support.
The change on stakeholder work activities.
Impact.
Is it the
Operational
end
support?
user or
The impact of
it's-
the change.
yeah, on stakeholder work activities? So the stakeholders are doing the work. Would that be the end user?
I think it's A
Oh,
because
good
it's
Yeah.
they're
A.
dealing with the final solution. With
Impact of the change.
You guys rock. Okay, let us check submit exam and view results. Guys, we got 68%. That's not bad considering all the lessons we learned during this.
Mhm.
Typically, you want to aim for a little bit higher, but always realize that whenever you take these tests, if you're taking it on your own, you want to make a little bit higher than you have to make during the exam because the stress of the exam, you probably will stumble a little bit more. But 68% is not a bad score. We have this recording to be able to look back at, and we can continue to go over this, especially if you have the Watermark Learning practice tests. You can go over it by chapter or the entire book all at once, whichever you prefer. Any questions or concerns about tonight's performance?
No, I have a question about next week, though. Is it requirements, analysis, and design definition? No, that wouldn't be
We're going
right.
to go over chapter 6. Chapter 6
Strategy.
is,
Strategy.
let me go to my list
I'm
here.
missing a whole chapter.
Strategy analysis.
Mhm.
Strategy analysis. Okay,
Okay.
thank
So-
you.
I would strongly suggest that you not only read strategy analysis, but if you're able to, whenever you find the techniques that are mentioned in strategy analysis, go on to chapter 9 and read about that technique, because there will be questions as we get further into this. Chapter 6, 7, and 8, it's going to start talking more and more about the techniques that are used in those, and expect you to know what the technique is and what the process is and what the technique's good for and when it should be applied and what it's useful for and when it should not be applied. So we're going to be getting those questions more and more as we go through this.
Did you say chapter 10?
The techniques chapter, I think, is it chapter
10.
9? Am I
10,
getting?
10.
Chapter 10, yeah, chapter 10 is the techniques.
Thank you, chapter 10. Guys, I wrote it, but I didn't get to tell it what chapter to write.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, if anyone is currently looking for a position, I'm getting recruiter calls constantly. So if you are looking for something, contact me through LinkedIn and tell me what you're looking for, and I may contact you and say, I need more information. Are you wanting remote only? Or, what kind of experience? Are you wanting a specific industry? That type of thing. But I'm happy to send you recruiters. I just need to know what you're looking for. There was someone that I told we could talk after the meeting tonight. If you will contact me through LinkedIn, I will go ahead and give you a call on Zoom and we can have a conversation regarding, I think it was what board position you were interested in taking. So if you can contact me now, I'll go ahead and go look at LinkedIn and give you a call. I will see y'all next week on Thursday at 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, 7 o'clock p.m. 7 to 8. I'm sorry, I'm in a different time zone, so my brain gets confused on time zones.
We have 2 questions in the chat.
We have
Ellison
questions.
is asking, Ellison is asking, what is the passing grade? Officially, there is no passing grade. They don't give any information, but we think it's 70%.
And I think,
Pass.
aren't some of the questions, don't they have a value point that's higher than other questions? So you can't really judge, or is that not true?
No, it's just they're all equal. It's like if you
Oh,
get
okay.
17, out of 25, you're 17 out of 25. Every single question is only 1 point, no weighted average, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a computer adaptive test, and IIBA does not reveal what is a passing.
Yeah,
No.
we should just drill
percentage.
till we're 100%, and then just keep
It's a
drilling till
little
we're
bit
100%.
unrealistic, but if you do in practice questions 80%, it's good.
I will tell y'all that Yulia made exceptionally high in her scores, higher than the average test taker. So I really trust her opinion on this.
Nice.
Okay,
And
ladies.
thank you. And somebody is asking for LinkedIn, your LinkedIn.
Oh, for my LinkedIn, let me go back to it. Thank you. Here is my LinkedIn. If you look at Thea Raisins, THEA.
You are not sharing.
Oh my goodness. I was sharing, but I was sharing the wrong screen. Let me go to that one. And share. Here we go. This is my LinkedIn. It's THEA RASINS. That is my LinkedIn ID. I haven't figured out how to put my new married name in there. If y'all have any tips or tricks on that, let me know.
Yeah, you have to check if it's available first. There's a tool in LinkedIn that'll do that for you.
Okay, I will find out.
Mhm.
I just got it changed over in Facebook. I feel like I've accomplished something.
That's good.
Okay. All right, guys. I will see y'all next week. We'll work on chapter 6.
Oh, quick question. Can
Yes.
you be a board member if you're interested, but if you're another board member, another chapter, it's also okay? Can you be a board member in both chapters?
They will not let you be a board member in multiple chapters. But thanks though.
You could do it in big companies, right? Like you could serve
I
be
know.
on the board for the
I
big.
know.
Why not?
board member on 3 different boards, but not within the IIBA.
Oh, I wish I love Tampa Bay. I love the Tampa Bay chapter. It's so much fun. I love it. Thank you.
We are fun. Dude,
Yeah, it
Princess
is.
is going out
61,
cleaning up-
61 consecutive BABOK study. It's impossible. to
and we do it free. Do you know how many chapters
I know.
charge for this?
I know a lot. It's like $600.
I know.
What? A year?
Like
No.
those $600 for like 2 days. Just for the 61 meeting sessions for two
One more
days.
time.
CBAP
How much?
session.
How much does it charge?
600 with discount. After discount.
Yeah, there's another chapter that's doing it for like $341, and it's 8 weeks for 3 hours a piece. But yeah, you got to pay. You have to pay for it, and
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
really
wow.
Thea. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you a lot. Thank you.
Well,
Really helpful.
I
Thank
get a
you for-
lot of slack
thank
from
you.
the IIB corporate for not charging, but our chapter doesn't even have a bank account. We're the nicest chapter. We
are the
it's
nicest
not our
chapter.
priority.
And I could not do it without Cliff running the video, because every time I try to run it, it tells me things like, we don't recognize you, so I'm not a real person. Cliff does the marketing and he does the videos and then he does the publicity. And then I've got the people that attend that have their CBAP that they give credibility. So whenever you contact me and you say, tell me the dates that I attended and how many education hours I have because I'm ready to apply, I have that, and you get the credit because we have the CBAP people that are attending. Without that, I'm just facilitator. But I
Thank you.
appreciate your kind words. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week. Do something fun and good for yourself this week, okay? Treat yourself like somebody you love.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.
Everybody.
See you.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Love you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.